I'm going to just keep streaming anyway so you guys can still hear me. It is before 5 a.m. I was trying to get out a little sooner. It took me a hair longer. Had to work on something for a minute. And yeah, so we're going to get this first walk done. I'm going to get back home, get the phone charged, and get some more coffee, and then get a second one, hopefully. But yeah, these have worked out really well with my ability to get plenty of cardio done. So we'll see how the scale does later afterwards. I'm kind of doing the weigh-ins, a lot of them after the walk, because I used to do my normal weight. Used to be later in the mornings. And so, again, I tend to be up a little higher. But then, so after the walk, sometimes I drop a couple pounds. So I have a feeling, looking at what happened yesterday, we might get a whoosh. We might get one. So we'll see. But I had said before, you know, I was up like a pound total in spite of the deficit because I added all the salt, tons of sodium to help with all this sweating. And then it had a creatine, but it's actually doing really good. Wow, that's a really early live. Yeah. Non-training days, I'm out here trying to hit these by 5 a.m., Nick. Yeah, my sleep is perfect, dude. I go to bed super early. Like, I go to bed before it gets dark. I'm a morning person. And I think people forget that I used to do biphasic stuff to where I used to get up and work at 2 or 3 a.m. for a couple hours and go back to bed. And I'd still train, or I used to go ahead to 24-hour fitness. Like, right before I built this home gym, I used to be at 24-hour fitness at 3 or 4 in the morning. Like, and would come home. I'm a morning person big time. So I'm literally someone who can fall asleep 7, 8 o'clock easily and be up at 4 without an alarm. So, like, I mean, I set my alarm for 4:30 and it started going off while I was drinking my coffee at my desk. I'm like, oh, so my coffee already brewed. I was on my first cup when the alarm hit. So I usually wake up before the alarm. But yeah, but we're out hitting it early. I'm gonna do some of these because if it's early in the morning like this, I'm not concerned that trying to do HD, so I put the battery on. So I put everything to low power and it's streaming just fine. Because I do go through the battery, just like if I'm trying to do 3 hours of walking and trying to charge the battery on the phone between, it's just such a pain. But it doesn't look like it allows for really HD streaming anyways on the phone app. From what I can tell, at least on my phones. So not really a big deal. But yeah, I'm a morning person. I'm super productive in the mornings, you know. So if I'm not out walking, a lot of times I'm up this early already recording videos and stuff. I have so many videos kind of in the backlog right now, though. Not really a big deal. Like right now, as far as literally informative videos, I could upload 5 a day, and 2 weeks from now I would still have videos left, even if I didn't make another video at all. So I'm trying to keep those just flowing because they're easy for me to make, and I never know which ones are going to hit. I just kind of fling them out there. I just build a library. I put them on all my platforms, though. Not letting me auto-reel small sections, though, on Facebook like it used to. So I'm only doing the big clips of them selectively because it'll make 20 of them. And I don't want to overspam my feed with those. So it's given me a little bit of a bug there. Also, I can't group post right now. But yeah. Yep. But I prefer the outside. It's so much better, even though it really, for money purposes, it's so much better for me to stream on my bike. It really is. I mean, truth be told, it pays better ads and I can stream multiple platforms. But I personally enjoy the outside walking way more. You know, I don't want to sit on that bike for 3 hours straight a day. Although, I mean, I could, it wouldn't be a horrible idea. financially, but I like getting out here and getting the fresh air, walking, you know. I enjoy doing it this way. So, yeah. People up early. First vehicle. So how about you, Nick? What are you doing? I take it you're not in the U.S. with you being watching a YouTube this early. We'll also see what we get for views. We're going to see if these weekdays do like they have been. Now this one's a little early to tell, but the weekday ones have been getting way better views in the mornings. I don't know what they're doing with my algorithm though. And I have no clue. Facebook's kind of being weird with it too. It's had a couple of videos that just kind of take off a bit, and one of my lives got 1,000. Actually got over 1,000, another one got 1,000, and the last one only got 300. I don't know. They're hit or miss too. Like, I don't know how many views a video's gonna get. I'm just kicking videos out at this point with it not caring. Mainly just at this point focusing on growing the coaching business and consults while my physique improves and we get leaner. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep chipping away, getting leaner. Leaner, leaner, leaner. It's the only way the social media stuff is gonna grow for me being a fitness person, right? It's the only way it's gonna grow. Plus I'll live longer. I always get people like, you could just bulk up heavier and lift really heavy weights, and I'm like, and I'll die young. Like, we're not trying to do that. So a lot of this is that focus on longevity. Nobody's hit the like button yet though. You're killing me. You know, but doing a ton of cardio while eating super clean would probably be the best thing for the longevity. Because that's also something to think about with that, the data we have on atherosclerosis. Because right now I'm doing nearly zero saturated fat, really low fat on this. That might be one of the few ways while doing all this cardio that might reduce any that I have. Unless I, you know, do starvation. I think people miss that too. Those starvation studies, they found that, you know, people who have been in concentration camps have no atherosclerosis. Like zero when they come out. It's fascinating. The human body does. So, again, the same thing if we're going to talk cardiovascular disease. As long as you're not doing tons of gear. I think for a lot of us, getting really lean with a clean diet and avoiding foods that cause arterial plaque would be the way. Because that's a big problem too. You know, you're seeing people who are getting leaner with some of the keto stuff and they're still having really bad blood work. They're still eating a ton of saturated fat. I got other videos coming on that too. Like, ketogenic diets have so many therapeutic benefits too, but every single time, study after study, when they replace the saturated fat with PUFAs, the medical benefits are dramatically enhanced. And that's the thing where the people in that kind of the whole keto cult versus evidence-based are definitely in disagreement, you know. It really makes sense to do just healthy fats if you're going to go that route. Like, it just simply does not make sense to do a bunch of saturated fat, especially when they had all the bacon and butter. And it's so crazy that they feel like there's evidence towards that. There isn't. Carol, hey coach, what's up? Appreciate the like. It hasn't shown up yet. I don't have any likes showing. There it goes. They're slightly delayed. But yep, we're up, pounding the pavement super early. Super, super early. Get on top of it. All right. And like I said, I want to see how these do with the low power mode. See if I can burn through less battery. I obviously have Bluetooth and everything turned off since I'm not using the AirPods for these. Notice it doesn't work that well anyways. right? So what do you got going on, Carol? Let's see if we can get some conversations going. There's been no conversations from people. Man. Ika says, Coach, I'm trying to increase my protein to get closer to the ultra high diet. I managed to get 250 grams a day so far, but high protein, no. Why are you doing the protein overfeeding? No, that's not enough for the protein overfeeding. Man, I was just about to say, is a synchronicity. I was about to say, I think a big problem people make who are trying to gain muscle, they try to eat too much protein. Okay, you do know that protein overfeeding is a recomposition thing, right? You don't gain any extra muscle. Okay, you don't gain any extra muscle from protein overfeeding. Like, for you to be gaining extra muscle from even hitting, going from 200, 250 grams a day, you got to be like, what, a 300-pound guy? If you're not getting any benefit from the muscle growth there. Zero. What we're doing, the protein overfeeding, is for recomposition purposes. It's to try to lose a tiny amount of fat while trying to force a surplus. That's what protein overfeeding does. Okay? But you're nowhere near protein overfeeding at 250 grams. We're talking like 400. So if your goal is just to maximize muscle growth, no, you don't need that. You really need about the 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight and just force down quality carbs beyond that. Carbohydrates are more anabolic than protein past that threshold. In fact, we can make a case for healthy fats that improve insulin sensitivity too. So I think, and this is definitely an issue, if you're just trying to, if anything, a lot of guys who struggle to eat whole food, right? Too much protein is a problem, because if you're shortchanging carbohydrate or even healthy fats, and particularly carbohydrate, and you're not able to eat enough, so because it's suppressing your appetite, when the reality is high fiber carbohydrates and quality carbs would be a better use. Again, we have to be clear, the protein overfeeding is extremely expensive. So if you're on a budget, protein overfeeding is not a good idea. But again, the whole idea behind it is that you're trying to lose fat. There's no muscle gain, so that's the point that has to be made. Protein overfeeding, the point is to lose a tiny amount of body fat while trying to force maintenance or a surplus. So that's what we mean by the ultra high protein and what you're trying to do. So with the studies on it where they took people at maintenance, found their maintenance in macros and had them add 200 more grams of protein to a high protein diet every day, and then try to still continue to hit their other macros with an additional 200 grams of protein from shakes added. So these are people who are already eating 200 grams. Okay. And my friend Alex Leaf co-authored that big study on it. And what happened with all of them, they all lost a tiny amount of body fat. But they were eating like 400 grams. Like, you don't gain more muscle from it. There's no anabolic. It's a thermic effect and a nutrient partitioning, in theory. So you're trying to basically biohack losing fat while making lean gains. But we can do that through other methods. You could literally do the same thing by eating maintenance with that 1.5 or 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight, which might only be 150 grams. Way more cost effective, right? In this economy, you know, dudes are like, I can't afford enough protein, but it's like, well, how much are you trying to eat? You know? Where again, your gains themselves, you're just trying to gain muscle, fibrous carbs, you know, brown rice and things, and a little healthy fat. Or you can go the other route of really high healthy fat. But that's really where you should be getting your calories. So, and I agree with that more and more. And I need to be careful that because I've discussed the merits of protein overfeeding in the past, but I don't think I always made it clear that that is purely a recomposition thing, and it's very expensive and it's not fun. It's super satiating, so it has made, yeah, okay, fair. But fiber is satiating too, you know. So I mean, even look at the meals that I put up, right? Like a standard meal for me before I add any other vegetables and peppers. You know, it's chicken, brown rice, sweet potato, and broccoli. That's like my staple right now. That's pretty satiating. Right? You fill up on vegetables and fiber for satiety. So that also works. Right? It's also a viable option. You know. Again, I think for most people, as long as you're just doing all whole foods, it resolves all these issues. It's like I'm telling guys, they don't really need to even be bulking. Like, people can sit near maintenance, just eat tons of whole foods and clean foods, and as long as you're not getting a bunch of refined carbohydrates, your saturated fat's really low, and you're hitting 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, you're gonna be okay. In fact, I always tell people, look, as long as you're getting at least 100 grams of animal source protein, most of you don't need to track protein beyond that, because you're gonna get all the rest from those other whole foods, right? I mean, if we really want nutrition made simple, and most guys just recomposition doing that, and they can literally just have portion control based on the scale a little bit. You know, they want to lose a little weight, they can literally just cut half a cup of their brown rice out a day or one less sweet potato, and the scale will start going down. Even if they're not tracking it, they're just consistent with those sort of foods. Right? Same thing, I also feel like if most people just did fasted cardio every day and just loaded purely whole foods like that too, as long as they're not going crazy on the fat, they would all drop body fat. I'm almost an exception because I have an insane, ridiculous appetite and have been over 300 pounds when younger. And has led me to clean up the diet too. Yeah, true. I don't think cleaning up a diet is hard. To me, that's a strange thing. You know, when people say, I can't clean, it's like, what do you mean? Just don't buy or eat junk food. Like, it's so easy. That was the easiest transition I made. For me, the cardio is the hardest part. So again, when I was over 300 pounds and started out in my fitness journey, I just basically woke up and said, I'm disgusting and I don't want to be fat. And so I just cut out all the junk. I just stopped eating junk. I never drank another soda. Like, I just cut it all out. You're not 770 pounds. Devin. Hey, Jason. Volume fuses never give me satisfaction or satiation. I'll never lose weight unless I'm being a little hungry. Well, I mean, that's normal too. I mean, I obviously have a bit of hunger. For me, on 3,000 calories is crazy below, or just over 3,000. Jason, deadlifts are good mornings for hamstrings. I think both work. I mean, we can make these arguments. I was chatting with a friend of mine, and he was laughing, saying, what's with these evidence-based people? There's another coach now talking about RDLs and a hamstring exercise. He goes, these clowns need to just stop, because deadlifts themselves will build hamstrings. Just a straight up conventional deadlift builds hamstrings. pretty effectively. Right? Run mountains. No, running is not going to build your hamstrings. You're not going to gain muscle from running. Just stop with that nonsense. There's a reason sprinters lift weights. People try to talk about that, and it's like, really? Then how come all these world-class sprinters you guys are talking about, look at the muscle they have. They all squat 500 plus pounds. They're literally in the weight room squatting all the time. Right? But I mean, good mornings build hamstrings, deadlifts build hamstrings. They all build hamstrings. They're all hip hinges. So, the difference we're talking about is, how much hamstring are you trying to build? I mean, I have a lot of my clients hamstring curl, but truth be told, I personally don't even have to if I don't want, honestly. I could probably literally do nothing but deadlifts and reverse hypers from my posterior chain the rest of my life and have massive hamstrings. But I've built them using a lot of different things. I mean, you guys still saw me do a 500-pound good morning like 5 months ago, 6 months ago. But yeah, either one builds them. Is you have to look at what else are they bringing to the table. But no, I mean, you could literally build big hamstrings off deadlifts. I'd probably add something else in though, either a reverse hyper or a good morning or something. Mainly just to keep from pulling hamstrings. Right? Be my advice. Stiff leg deadlifts and hamstring curls are enough. I mean, yeah. But what else are you doing? Are you not doing normal deadlifts? Why are you not deadlifting? Because you say, oh, I'm deadlifting too. Well, you didn't include that. That's like when a dude starts talking about, is this enough for chest? And it's like, are you benching? And they're like, oh yeah, that too. It's like, well, you have to include that. Those are your foundational lifts, really. And I can make a good case for that. We can make a very strong case for that. So yeah, I think the biggest challenge with the amount of walking I want to do in the mornings is battery life though. How about building up to 1x15 on the deadlift? Why would you do that? Then adding weight and going back. Hey, yeah, I'm not gonna support that. Ask you a simple question. You really think you're gonna do 15s on the deadlift? And you're gonna sustain that for any length of time? You're gonna quit that real fast. I'm gonna say maybe cap it at 8 or 10 and do that. Right? You could run it that way and you'd be fine. Run it down to 5 or 6 and then build up again. Feed me. You do understand those sort of reps on a deadlift? Your cardio is going to be the bigger limiting factor, right? Like you're going to build too much fatigue. It's not going to, I mean, you could do it. Don't get me wrong. It's just a lot. I mean, I could make a case for a person building a really jacked lower body with minimalism, doing one set of squat and one set of deadlifts on a full body 3 days a week, and literally doing a double progression. Work pretty good, to be fair. Yeah, I think I did that with a 12 rep all out max for 4 or 5 or exactly. Yeah, it's so fatiguing. That's what I was doing before I switched to hitting a single 8 reps was really good. Yeah, there you go. I need your help, Jason. I'm not able to do a proper squats. I mean, leg press heavy weights. Superman, you know how to get my help. Superman, you already know how to get my help. All right, go to my Facebook. It's linked under every video. Send me a message. Let's set up a consultation. I can either do a one-off call to help you, and you can film your deadlift form, or we can set up full coaching. That's just how I help you. I can't, nobody can help you with that in a live stream, but it's a full-time service. Coaching is my job. I'm a virtual coach. So go to my Facebook. I mean, Instagram is a worst case. They're linked under every video. And let's set up a consultation. Or message me and let's discuss whether we need a consultation or to apply for coaching itself. And I will fix your squat. How's that sound? Feed Me says, I don't compete and I have no plans to do so. Probably more suitable I do reps rather than a single. Depends, Feed Me. I mean, depends on what you're trying to do. But yeah, I mean, definitely reps work. I would do something like up to 5 to 10. Works just fine on a single set for progression like that. But past 8, it starts getting grueling on deadlifts. I've done 12 with 425 before on camera. I thought I was gonna die. I mean, you get to see me do an all out 500 for 11, but it doesn't count. I was at my strongest then. 2, it was with thick plates on a bump. Like, it was the thick training plates, those 2.5-inch plates. You know what I mean? They go all the way to the edge of the bar on a deadlift bar. So it's really cheating. It doesn't count. Like, you can call that 500 for 11, but we all know it's BS. All right. That much whip out of the bar, you know I'm getting 40, 50 pounds a cheat. So it really wouldn't count. But, I mean, yeah, I've done like straight up 425 or a 12 for on camera. And that was pretty grueling, like without that much whip using the steel plates. It's a lot. It's like the other guy here said 405 per 12. Yeah, if you're talking real deadlifts, not anything cheating with bumper plates and a whippy bar, that's tough. Jason, do you have any experience? No, I don't think tempo work is useful. Gas already went up. Why would gas go up? Yeah, Carol, I don't think tempo work like that is particularly useful. It's fine if people want to do it, but I think it's a waste of time. Just squat and deadlift at a normal tempo. All right. And it doesn't matter that people say, but this one champion did it, but there's plenty of champions who didn't. Plenty of people who broke world records who don't do any of that, and there's plenty of people who won Mr. Olympias who don't do any of that. Therefore, it's probably not necessary. Why are you talking politics in my stream? Would you like to be banned? This is not a political channel. Stay on topic. All right. I'm not a particularly political person, and I don't like it in my streams for the most part these days. It's distracting. You should probably go find a channel called Flip Flops, Politics, and Economy. I don't know what the temp is, but it's hot. I didn't check. It's definitely, you guys want me to just make a rough guess? This dark is probably 80 degrees. That's what it feels like. So it'll probably reach well into the 90s later today. I mean, I'm just north of Houston, so, you know, I'll be sweating when I do these later ones. Once the sun is up, I'll be sweating profusely. Right? Be lots of fun. Be fun for the whole family. Yeah, it's very hot where I live. That's why in the garage you guys only see me about 5 workouts a year actually not wearing shorts, and I don't have a heater in there. It's literally because, it's just not cold enough to need it. We get snow once every 4 years where I live. We get a snow day usually. We usually call it the Great Blizzard. Like we jokingly all call it the Great Blizzard of '04. Right? It's like 2 inches of snow and then it melts in 5 hours. All right. Feed Me says it best to stick to no more than 12 sets a week on a 3-day full body. Depends on the novice phase. Yeah, novice is probably a good idea. I mean, you can take certain muscles and do more, but not going to be many muscle groups. Like for me, I know my arms need the extra work. But realistically, I mean, I could definitely maximize someone's growth off 3 sets of squats 3 times a week. It's probably, you'd never really need more than that ever for the lower, and then some deadlifting. Must feel like I could write some simplified intermediate stuff. And as long as people don't need weak point things, I don't know. You wouldn't need a lot of isolation. You guys can also rotate your isolation on full body. So, for example, if you're doing, say, pull-ups or chin-ups and bench and dips and whatever, you can have one day each week to where you add the extra work for just one muscle, and that would work also. He said, meanwhile, you're in your air-conditioned basement. There you go, man. Well, I have the perk, though, even though I'm out there, of getting sunlight and some air while I'm doing my training in the garage. There's that perk. I guess it's all a matter of looking at the pros and cons of everything. I mean, even this cardio, I could be on my bike right now, really, if I wanted to. I mean, realistically, financially, it would be smarter to be on my bike. So, I don't know why I'm not talking myself into it, other than I like the outside walks, right? Because on the bike, I can stream both platforms concurrently, and I get more ad revenue for YouTube on the desktop. But I like the outside walking. I like getting the sunshine. I enjoy the walking versus the bike. It's just more pleasurable. On the other hand, though, it does make sense if I scale the cardio back later to just do the bike on the desk. Right? Less monotony. Yeah. Well, that's the streams help with the monotony, That's one of the big perks of the streams is I can multitask. I feel like I'm actually doing something productive that makes some money, gets me consultations, clients, some ad revenue, some followers. And then I have people to talk to. As long as they don't really annoy me, I deal with a lot of nonsense, so a lot of people don't realize the reason I act the way I do. You guys have no clue how much just BS I deal with. I think it's great you promote basics, health and longevity, very refreshing. Almost all YouTube fitness is completely overcomplicated. Yeah, they make it more complicated than it needs to be because it's hard to sell the basics. Yeah, a lot of times people in here, though, are like, why are you such a dick sometimes? I'm like, because half the time the person I'm talking to might be the guy who swatted me. You know, I deal with some stupidity. Like, my family and friends have all been stalked by trolls, like really stalked and harassed. So, you know, those same people are half the times the people who make the troll counts in the streams. So I just turned into a dick real quick. I found you again because of an AM stream. Awesome, man. So subscribe and click that bell, man. But yeah, Carol, and I'm going to promote more of that, you know. I'm going to promote more of that. I even question if I even need to be doing delt work, or anybody does. Once you gain some size, if you're lean, I almost feel like a lot of guys could really get the physique they want, just really off of squat, bench, deadlift, pull-up variations, chin-up variations, dips, and some arm work and some calf work, and a lot of guys would be fine. Right? They would do just fine in terms of their goals. All right. I almost want to tell people they could, but I don't want to go that far. You know, that minimalist. But honestly, I've had even someone say, you know, someone could really, looking at your four there, could really just do chins and dips for their upper body with squats and deadlifts and probably be fine. Yeah, the average guy would probably build a better physique than what they think they would. Especially if they throw in some laterals or something for their delts. But if they're overhead pressing, I don't know. I don't know that they need side delt work. I don't know, we can make a lot of cases for all that. I actually wish I could overhead press correctly, and I'd be doing it right now, honestly. All right. I think it was also fascinating. You know, we make those arguments about side delts and overhead pressing, yet I've had novice clients who got really good at the overhead press, who had really good delts, who were lean. All right, full body 3 times a week is your bread and butter. It's what you started doing. It is true, it was my bread and butter. Right? And it worked. I got plenty of people got big. I was pretty dang big doing it. I mean, even so, Feed Me, you know that before and after I put up? You remember that? So the one I put up on the community tab a while back with that green screen behind me, I was doing full body training even then, and that before. That's all I did. I mean, really, I was just squatting and deadlifting. A lot of pull-ups, a lot of dips, closed grip benching, overhead pressing. It was basically all I did. Occasionally I threw in some tricep extensions. You know, yeah, I mean, I still do now. I'm obviously leaner. But I mean, people were kind of like, I had a few people ask me even like, because I put it up on all my platforms. So on the Instagram, one of the guys was like, were you doing more arm work? I'm like, I was doing no curls at all during that time. I wasn't doing curls at all. Even my chin-ups were usually not even underhand grip. They were neutral grip. I was doing a lot of neutral grip, pull-ups, and tons of dips. I was doing push presses though. I was doing behind the neck push presses too. Yeah. I was working in incline some also, though. I was definitely doing some incline, closed grip incline. If biceps are a priority, then how come you aren't doing chin-ups? I've done chin-ups on some of the days actually, because I'm doing curls. Beautiful. Because I also don't want my back to get neglected. Is kind of my other concern. Because I can come in and do curls. It's not a problem for me to do curls. You also have to factor in there can be easier overuse of that tendon with a chin. But I go back and forth. I think it's a valid question. I go back and forth on it a lot. I toy with that one in my own mind myself. I guess my only concern is I don't want to risk losing the great back I've developed by doing too many chins when I know that pull-ups are what built that width that I have. Right? Although I suppose maybe that's not a valid concern, is it? I could just do chins and barbell curls and probably be fine. Which is what I did the other day. I mean, so this last workout, it was pull-ups. With the workout before, like on Friday, I did chins, right? And then I did straight bar curls after. So, I mean, and I could totally go that route and it'd probably be okay. You know. So again, I'm always torn on that one, and I like to do both. I go back and forth between chins and pull-ups a lot. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, of saying, you know, I can do both. But, yeah, I definitely get a lot out of dips, though, and I always have. I said that years and years ago, too. I remember a whole post I made before I even started YouTube, and Jamie Lewis had a conversation with me, put up an old picture. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I must have built my arms off chin-ups, and I had bigger arms then, and lots of dips. Yeah. You know, I love dips. I like living on dips. They always scare me because of people's injuries, and I've had a client get hurt with them, but it's like, I don't seem to have those problems. The only time dips become painful for me with anything is when I go too heavy and half rep them. What do you think your channel was the biggest? Objectively, when did it make the most money? Because I don't know how to define biggest. Biggest would be, did it make the most money, right? Because that would be also indicative of traffic. I'd need to look, but I want to say 2017, 2018, I made the most money. Right? Like it was enough the average person could live off of. When you did your current, yeah, but I can't stand doing them. Like, they're so soul draining. Like, they don't even make me feel like a good person. Like when I do current events, not only am I trash talking other people, I get so upset watching the stupidity that it actually upsets me. Like just seeing the horrible scams and the con artists, it actually upsets me. Like I actually get upset when I go look at these scam artists. And then I'm over here spouting negativity, you know. But also keep in mind, YouTube is it's a different platform now. And since I do multiple platforms, it's like, I can't do that content and then have it apply to all my platforms, right? It's not useful. So all my content really needs to be multi-platform friendly. And if we're just talking about YouTubers, you see where I'm going with that? It wasn't current events in the online, it was current events in YouTube. Well, then that content is not useful for my Facebook and other stuff, you know? Right? So I just don't see the current events ever getting back. Like some current events for a little bit before. And realistically, the money difference that it made isn't even a car note. Like, let alone thousands of dollars, right? I mean, a bad month, when I did the old current events, a bad month would be $4,000 in YouTube ads. That would be me getting nervous, going, oh, this is a really bad month. It needs to be a little higher. It's not, it's getting uncomfortable. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, it's just, you have to do tons of them. And no one's really looking in like they were. They don't get the same views. All right. So it's really dead in the water to do that. I need to just focus on, like the other people's noting, longevity. Get a better physique, get leaner, continue to help people, I think is really the correct route. Actually make my money doing something good, you know. Because people say, but you're helping with the other, but say, like, not really. As long as everyone knows not to buy a bunch of supplements. But do we need to bash on people to explain that most supplements are a scam? You know, we can literally just review the individual supplements. And we're never going to get rid of that. Click brain rot. Content. Well, and then it's also booty jiggle fitness. So, I mean, but we come back to that. So another reason why I'm doing this cut, if I get really actually legitimately shredded, then I'm a contender for the clickbait. At least people come in just because, wow, this old guy's shredded. He's been here a long time, you know. That alone is worth something. We've been at it real early. I mean, we're closing in on the hour. All right. Closing in on the hour. So what I'm going to do after this one, I'm going to run it a little longer. I'm going to go home, throw the phone on the charger. It's actually done really well. So I have a feeling, based on the battery use on this walk, set to the power save mode, because it streams just fine. I should be able to charge my phone for a short bit and come and knock another one out without this battery running out. I'm thinking, right? It's a great direction for channel and Blaha brand. I agree, Carol. I agree. Yeah, we can't see me yet, Peppermint, but we will for the next one. I wanted to get started earlier, but I had a delay getting out the door. All right. Had a delay getting out the door. And that's all right. See, if one man's goal is to just build muscle and be big, should they not bother with hitting 1 rep maxes? Yeah, they probably don't need 1 rep maxes, honestly. But you need progressive overload, and that's the point. You do need progressive overload. All right. But we come back over to the big movements. You know, I could get somebody big never going under 8 reps, and they'd still be strong. And I think that's what people forget. When we talk about strength, I think what people are missing is the 1 rep maxes peak your strength, but they don't build your potential. Right? So I almost feel like just, you know, to demonstrate some of that, I may not bench heavy. I'm just going to do all this rep work with 225 and then kind of show you still have a big bench later. Right? I think no matter how lean I get, as long as any day of the week I can walk in and hit any of my dad bod strength standards, we'll be in a good place. I don't even need super crazy lifts. Really, I can look at that and go, so what happens if I'm a shredded 185 at 50? Is anyone going to hate on me if I walk in and can barely hit over a 315, 405, 500? No, nobody's going to hate on that. It'd be like this ripped 50-year-old dude is hitting 3, 4, 5 plates. Right? Not that I wouldn't be able to push him up higher than that. We're not doing the official weigh-in yet. I'm going to wait till after the cardio. I think I'm going to whoosh down. I think I'm going to get a whoosh. Because my old weight, all my starting weights were not for 4 a.m. weigh-ins. People have to remember that. So I've never been doing 4 a.m. weigh-ins previously. They've been like 7 in the morning when I've been getting up, or actually up and moving. And so even the starting weight for all this was, so even once I had carved up, once I started doing all this, even that week I was weighing in, sometimes it's, just 7 a.m. and I'd hit 227 from all the carbs when I first started adding the cardio and the carbs back in. But I'm gonna hold out and hope I get 210. If I don't, I don't. But I seem to be adapting to all the salt now, all the sodium and the creatine. I saw Mark Ripto saying that to build a big press, you need to be pressing 3 to 4 times a week. No, I don't think that you have to, not necessarily. The problem with that is that if it's heavy, it's gonna beat you up. And I think kind of your take home there, it's like, I got people who are like, Coach, you're doing a lot of pressing with this, but I'm like, it's all lightweight. And I think there's a big difference between doing sets of 8 plus 3 times a week versus going heavy. What did you weigh today? No, I mean, so I jumped on, but I'll lose weight. So I stepped on the scale at 213.8, but my morning walks, I lose several pounds. And remember the starting weigh-in, and I'm having coffee, so it's not just me always sweating, I'm getting coffee. I lose a lot of weight in the mornings, no matter what. So I've noticed that from previous stuff, even for competition weigh-ins. So, yeah. So I have a feeling I'm hoping to hit 210. Even though I'm gonna have a couple of giant cups of coffee in there. Just getting up and moving and the sweating, I lose a lot of weight. So I'm gonna be 210. By press, he was referring to that right press here. He said bench should be worker around it. I suppose we're also asking the question of why is that big press that important? But even then, you really want to overhead press heavy 3 times a week? Because Mark doesn't advocate a lot of higher rep work. So I'm going to say people are going to get beat up. Why? Ripto's overrated too. He's good for novices. I don't know why people are taking him seriously for other stuff. Like his other programming is bad. And I hate to say it, I know someone now who shows me his programming. He's like, well, if this doesn't work this time, I'm going to come on a guy who's been stuck as a perpetual intermediate for 7 years. But he won't let go of the starting strength cult. And so he even has a starting strength coach still working with him. And it's like, you're just now hitting a 405 deadlift. How many years have you worked with this coach? 6, 7 years. Benching 265 with a bounce. It's like 7 years and no pause, because they don't teach them to pause bench at starting strength. 3 times a week sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, 1 set of squats, it can work. And I mean, I could even progress it later. I could literally do that and take it up to like a 6 rep and just build it. I could literally just do a double progression on this 1 set of squat 3 times a week. He said you can do a dynamic double in one of those workouts. But I agree. I think your information is better for the long game. And that's the other thing too. So let's say you did want to do the press 3 times a week. Why couldn't you just do high rep work to build the muscle? And then you can peak the max. And I think people forget that. Even my strongest conjugate guys, I don't think people understand how I trained them. So, I mean, you guys have seen examples. You guys remember when I showed Perry squatting a 615 squat, looking like a warm-up? And I think I put at one point on the Chenahun bench in like 430, weighing less than 220, right? You guys do know we lived on 10 reps, right? 90% of his training was like 10 rep sets. We did Our 2 heavy singles are 1 to 3s once a week for 1 set, an upper and a lower, usually focusing on a squat. And he did speed work. Everything else was 10 plus reps. He lived on 10s. And what does that produce? A guy with abs who squats 615 weighing 210. So that's kind of my point. We don't need a lot of heavy work. Even if you're going to peak for conjugate, you need 1 rep. You need 1 rep once a week. Ramp to 1 heavy single will absolutely peak your strength potential. The speed work helps. I feel like it feeds it. But realistically, so even if you wanted to do a full body on rep work like I'm doing, so let's say you wanted to peak your strength, you could come in and do 1 day each week, hit a max on your big 3, hit a training max, and literally just do all your reps back again on everything else all the rest of the week. You'll be fine. All right. I think too many people want to get the best of both worlds outside of the novice phase. So Ripto and the people, we'll do these heavy 5s. And I'm like, why? You're going to get less beat up, build more muscle with higher reps, and you're going to get more strength from singles. Separate them. Just making a case for that. And I'm not saying you can't do 5s, but realistically, you could literally do a double progression, 6 to 10, or you could come in and literally just do 10s and do 1 heavy single at some point in the week. And it will build your conditioning, right? And we should all be doing cardio anyways. But hopefully you guys see my point. You see the point I'm making there. There's a point where I kind of go a bunch of 5s. I don't know that that's necessarily the way to go. You work a 5 to 8 with a progression. But that's the other issue with it too. They try to use novice stuff of, let's do sets of 5, but then you're just running them sets across and sticking to that rep range and only just adding weight occasionally instead of actually doing limit sets, right? So you're really leaving muscle on the table. Doing 10s and training maxes will beat you up less than doing loads of 5s. Yep, and you'll end up being bigger, and that's going to raise your strength ceiling. And I mean, even with what I'm doing with mostly higher rep stuff, mostly 8 plus right now, just get cut. When I get lean, I'll probably be able to come in and spend a couple weeks maxing and have a very respectable total for my class. Happened to one of my guys. He comes to me for advice. A guy I trained a little. He can't afford my coaching, but he also does some coaching. He has an exercise science degree. He's kind of doing some of that too. And he said, Coach, I've been doing mostly 10s. He still calls me coach. And he's like, I want to do a meet in January, but I want to work on my physique a lot more because he's done some natural bodybuilding shows too. And he's like, but I came in and tested my maxes and they were really, really good. He's like, and I haven't done any low reps. I've literally just been doing, 8, 10, 12 and supplemental work. And he's like, but I came in and tested just to see where they were. And he goes, I hit a training max 475 deadlift. He's like, my best meet lift was 515. And I walked in, I've done no heavy deadlifting. He's like, the same thing. I just want to see where my squat was. And I hit, like a 445 squat or whatever, 200 kilo, and he's like, I haven't even been squatting heavy. It's just been rep work. So he's like, do I even need to be doing this? And I'm like, no, just keep doing your rep work and work on your physique. And, you're talking about a January meet. Why don't you get to November and then peak for it, right? Was full body 3 days a week really old school lifters were doing anyway? Yeah, that's what they were all doing. Reg Park, Steve Reeves, all those guys trained like that. Leroy Colbert. So you go look at all those guys. They were all jacked. They were all strong. Literally the only steroid that existed was Dianabol. That's the only thing that was available. Right? They had access to like nothing. It was very successful for them. I mean, same thing. I mean, I was pretty thick in that one picture and did it put up. Granted, I think I look better now, leaner. I was just doing full body, and it was probably 3 days a week roughly still at that time. All right. And it was mostly compounds. I wasn't even doing curls. I would say the only isolation stuff I was probably doing was maybe some face pulls and some tricep extensions every now and then with dumbbells or a rope press down. But I wasn't doing them that often. You know, I was literally living on pull-ups, dips, overhead pressing, little close grip here and there, a little incline. I was just rotating through those on different days. But I was doing dips every workout. You know, so I mean, for me, yeah, I mean, a lot of days I literally just came in and my workout would be 3 sets of squats, a set of deadlifts, three or 4 sets of dips, and some pull-ups, and I'd go home. Or I'd do an overhead press or a bench in there. You know? All right. I just don't want to take delt workout. I'm just worried that if I take delt workout, I'm going to have small delts when I get leaner. I don't know why I worry about that. You know, I think for me, I wouldn't worry about it if I could overhead press. That would resolve it for me, especially if I get behind the neck. So I'm going to keep doing all the dead hangs and full range of motion. I think that's also going to help too. Me trying to really force the range of motion on dips and chin-ups and pull-ups, I am hoping is the final straw I need. Because we know mobility work doesn't do anything for me at all. It's literally a waste of time. I literally get nothing out of it. So, you know. Wow. Man, I think we're making really, this has been a really good time here. The views are a little low. I always say I think the wide grip, but I don't know that with this, what I'm doing now, that it really is, because it's lightweight. And I also don't want to risk not getting the chest. Then again, I get really good chest development from dips, don't I? So, but I was also doing a lot of heavy stuff. So I also feel like if I'm not going heavy on bench, it doesn't really matter, you know. But I have also definitely considered going back to the closer grip. It's just that I'm so much stronger right now on that wider. I mean, I could only get 8 reps with 225 on the close grip the other day. Whereas I crank out 10s with it really easy with pinkies on the rings. So I think there's a lot of overuse there too. I think too many partials on certain things. So I'm gonna experiment with a bit though on doing all my pull-ups or chin-ups, full 100% range of motion. Same thing with dips. And I wanna see if some of that opens my shoulders up. Yeah, so that 8 to 10, so that's kind of the point I'm making. So even if wider grip might be a problem, is it really with the reps I'm using? I don't think it is. In fact, my shoulders feel really good right now. And mainly, I would love to be able to do a full lockout overhead press again. Would be kind of my goal. Like that's really my only concern with shoulders. Like I don't hurt. There's no pain. I don't have any shoulder discomfort anywhere. It's that I literally just can't lock my arms out over my head. What's going on, Lars? How you doing? Good morning. All right, guys. So here's what I think we're gonna do. We've run this one pretty far. We've gone well past an hour. I think I want to go charge this phone. And I'm going to come back. I need to do a Facebook profile live because I need 2 reels for my Rising Creator badge. So it lets me, I need to do a couple of shorts so I can turn them into reels. So a couple of lives. So I'll do that. Sliding up quickly now. I know these views are still super low. So I'm going to go get the phone charging, get some more coffee in, check a couple things, and we're going to come back and try to get a nice, really, really long walk in. Like I said, I'll probably start with Facebook. But I think based on what I used for phone battery here, I think the phone battery would last a 2-hour walk. Even almost with no charging, but I'm going to charge it for just a little bit. Your issues with shoulder mobility is due to your massive lats. I think my lats are definitely a factor. But what if I can keep doing the pull-ups into those hangs and then go all the way over? I'm hoping that will eventually replicate, right? My hope is enough of that will replicate that movement pattern I need for that overhead press. And I'm also, because I noticed my range of motion with those on the grips, I'm going to have to overhead press really, really close grip. Because I'm looking at my shoulder ranges of motion, that's probably going to be the only way I'm ever going to get full range of motion on it. You know? But my lats are definitely a factor. And what's crazy to me, I can't raise my arms into the position I get in the pull-ups. So when you guys see me go into the hang on a pull-up, I can't raise my arms and physically go into that same position. I can't move my arms that far. It's only because I'm hanging that allows me to do that. So I can't forcibly do it. I don't know though if maybe I got enough bar speed on an overhead press, maybe just inertia might do it, right? It might. We'll see. All right, guys. We're almost home. Almost home. So I'm going to go ahead and wind this one down. And I'm going to get this phone charging, take a short break, and we're going to come back and really push a super long walk. I'm hoping. All right.